Thank you for tuning in to another video. We are here with Lakeisha. Lakeisha's gonna give you some more information about her and why we are here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. So I thank y'all for having me. So I am Lakeisha Russell, and I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I work a lot with women and children and just helping them heal from past traumas, life transitions, to help them be a better version of themselves in all areas of their life.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm so happy that she has us here today. I actually reached out to Lakeisha on Facebook because I've heard her podcast. It's awesome. Dealing with like mental health and Black mental health. That's not what we get a lot of. That's not what we hear a lot of. Also got the opportunity to see her at the Milwaukee Podcast Festival last October.
Yes.
Last October, and she was amazing. So I definitely want to get in and do a session with her because when it comes to marriage, it's not all about planning the wedding. It's not all about the glitz and the glamour. You actually have to like go back and see, like go back into the past and kind of figure out how people grew up, how your mate grew up, just to know where you will be in the future. So we have a few questions for Lakeisha today. We want to get her professional opinion on a few things. So let's see here. The first question that I have for Lakeisha is, why is pre-marriage counseling important?
I think it's important because we're talking about two individuals having to merge as one when you get married, because it's no longer an individual concept. It's togetherness and one accord, everybody on the same page. And sometimes people have habits or quirks, and you be like, I wasn't raised like that now, so you can't come talk to me like that or do those kind of things. And having an understanding of where each person is coming from, because I think sometimes it's hard, right? Because you want your perspective and your idea to be the right one.
Right. Exactly.
And when it's just you two trying to communicate that to each other, sometimes there is some miscommunication. And so having a neutral party involved who can help each person see what the other person is talking about, and then really helping them to understand and listen to what somebody is talking about, not listening to respond, but listening to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. Another question we have is, what are some key factors to a healthy relationship?
To a healthy relationship, some key factors is number one, and I know it sounds cliche, but you have to treat others how you want to be treated. And I say that because many of the times we treat people how we feel. Meaning, if I feel like I'm not worth a nickel piece worth of dog meat, I know old school cliche, well, old school saying, but like we treat people like that with meanness and nastiness and just unkind words and behaviors and not thinking of them and being considerate. But when we truly take the time to love us and who we are and all our flaws and all, we can truly be able to love somebody else how they need to be loved.
Yes. Yes. Another question that I have is like, how important is it to be like transparent with your past, like when going into a new relationship and going into a marriage?
Yeah, I think it's very transparent. I think the issue becomes if the person hasn't done the work.
Oh yeah.
And so they aren't even aware of pains that they haven't healed from, and those wounds are still open and fresh. So if somebody does something to trigger a memory for that person, like, oh, I remember when he said this or she did that, and that person is doing something similar, but it may not be any kind of maliciousness or ill intent, that person's defense mechanism pops right back up, and it's exhibiting those old, mean, nasty-like behaviors. And so I think it's people having an understanding of where they are in terms of healing, and, you know, being upfront with that person to be like, hey, you know, because I know one of the questions we always ask is like, well, why did your past relationship end? All of that stuff. You know, right. And so people coming and being honest about those things, and then, you know, I think it's okay to to be like, I've done the work and I've healed. Like I've either gone to therapy or I took time to get to know me again.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's okay for people to share those things, but people have to be self-aware with understanding where they are.
Okay. Speaking of the healing, you kind of touched base on it there when you said whether it be going through therapy or just looking within yourself. What are some things that you would recommend for people who want to be healed, you know what I mean, who want to take those steps and better themselves?
Yeah, well, I was an advocate of therapy.
Shameless plug.
Right. Because I think when you have somebody that has a skill set to help pull those things and make those connections for you on why you think the way you think, why you act the way you act, because of things that come up in your childhood, because everything is connected. Nothing is separate. Right. Everything is intertwined. So having somebody to help you work through that journey on those pieces. Other things you can do is really like taking time to get to know you and date yourself. And so, and I'm not saying, give up on men or women, but really take the time. What is it that Lakeisha likes to do? Yeah. What makes Lakeisha laugh? What makes Lakeisha smile? What makes Lakeisha tick? Yeah. What are things that are embarrassing to Lakeisha? And being okay with those quirks and things like that. Another thing that you can do, aside from therapy and just getting to know yourself, is just journaling. I love people when they journal because they can self-reflect, because how we are shows up in some form or fashion of our day-to-day interaction.
Oh, for sure.
Whether it's we're easily irritated by the smallest little thing, and just think about how that can show up in a relationship. So you want to be able to kind of nip that stuff in the bud, or at least have coping skills that you can battle those type of things.
Yeah. So, what was I thinking about here? So, story time, really quick. So, when me and Marcus first got together, I was doing a lot of projecting. So, with that, I was bringing like past relationships into our relationship, like, oh, he's not calling when he gets off work anymore. Like, oh, I'm paying attention to patterns, and he's not doing this anymore. Oh, he's wearing new cologne. I'm projecting and bringing this into our relationship, and I had to check myself. So, like, can you give us some, like, how do we know when we're projecting, like, old and past things onto a new relationship? Like, how do we decipher, like, oh, I'm not paying attention to patterns. This is actually a projection.
And that's a very, very good point. I love how you said it. Because I think of the show Insecure. And so this season has been all about those automatic negative thoughts. And so the overgeneralization, because that's when you are projecting. So when one bad relationship happens and you're like, oh, he's having similar patterns like that, that automatically means he cheat. Or he gonna be talking to me crazy or treating me bad. But that don't mean that. And you don't have all the facts. So I think that's where that projection comes in, because you don't have all the facts of this current situation. And then it's like, have you truly done the work and healed to forgive that person and to have new lenses on with this new person? I think it's hard to overcome projection when you haven't set the tone and communicated with your new partner expectations. And, and maybe explaining, I don't know if you ever shared that with Marcus, like, I'm so quick to jump the gun because this has happened in my past.
Right.
Have you guys, when you were going through that, how did you respond when she said that?
To be honest, to be honest, it was, I understood because, we literally were just having this conversation. Like, I feel like people in our age, we're not super old or anything, but people in our age, late 20s, 30s, you've been through situations or relationships where you have scars and whatever left over. So, each time you step into something new, you're bringing all that old stuff with you each time. And I told her, when we first started dating, I'm legit gonna fresh start. No nothing, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna base you off anything anybody else did. I'm gonna give you an honest opportunity, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna do the same, So that's kind of the conversation we had. I told her that's what I'm willing to do. And I understand what she's been through, and I know it may be difficult, but, I'm here to do the right thing. And I expressed that, and we just kind of been going ever since. So.
And I love that because, again, communication and being comfortable with sharing that, because that means you have to be vulnerable.
Right.
You know, and sometimes people are like, when I'm vulnerable, that's when people will
step in.
Exactly. Take that opportunity just to like do me over bad and things like that. But with this new person, again, cause you know, truth be told, we don't know if things will work out or not.
Right.
And it really comes down to faith and trusting, like, okay, I'm gonna trust this process with this person. And I'm gonna be vulnerable. But still, in a sense, you know, cause we have to guard our hearts, but not harden them. And so it's a difference between the two, and guarding your heart, knowing, okay, I'm sharing this with you, but I'm still going to do the self-work on me, you know, so I'm not losing sleep, crying every day, and all of that good stuff, because that's real. And, you know, and not to harden your heart, too, where you're just like, whatever, I don't even care, you know, and just being nasty and mean, but being vulnerable and communicating. So I love that you guys have that communication, because at the end of the day, none of this means anything without that communication and willing to hear what the other person has to say.
She said, guard your heart, not harden it, y'all. We dropping jewels here today.
Come on!
Yes. So what advice can you give to the single woman who is looking at all of her friends on social media get married and take vacations and be proposed to, and like even people that are watching like our series on YouTube, like what advice can you give to them if they're feeling like, dang, it just ain't my time, like when is my time coming, like when is it going to be me walking down the aisle? Because I know there are a lot of women out there that just like, dang, I'm 32, I got 2 kids, and I don't know when my time is gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. So like, let me not even open up, like let me not even date. Like what advice do you have for that woman?
Oh my goodness, like I feel like that is so many of us. First off, take a break from social media. Like, because that is real. You see everybody getting married or proposed, having a baby with the bae, and you be like, dang, I wish that was me. And when you start to compare yourself, like you are killing your own confidence. And so sometimes we need to take a break from social media, and that's okay. But again, in turn, while you're waiting, and I think changing that mindset, you know, again, maybe it's just not my time yet, but then it's like, are your eyes open? Are you open to love? One thing that was shared to me, because, so I'm single, and I'm 31 with 2 kids. Like I desire to be married. I know God has called me to be married. But I have so many things going on, and one older lady was like, well, Lakeisha, are you open to it? And I was like, wait, what? like, you know, in my head, I'm like, right. She's like, are you open and available? And I was like, wait, well, if I got this, and this going on, will I even like have the time? And so I really had to self-reflect on my life and be like, okay, well, maybe some things I can scale back on, because, we have this vision. Oh, when I get a bag, you know, it's going to be all about them. But let's be real. We going to want somebody just to plop down in our life and everything we have going on, but it don't work like that. And so reevaluating what you have going on, you know, and if you are in a space to even have a relationship, because relationships take work, you know, as well as, so doing that self-work, self-reflecting on where you are in your life and everything that's going on, and continuing to love you, and like do some hobbies, like invest in your talents, go back to school, like start your business, whatever it is, because you know, if we focus on just having this relationship, we aren't really doing the work to help us when we get in it. It's like, are we just glorifying just to be like, oh, I got a babe, you know, or I'm getting married, y'all, it's my time now. Like, no, we don't want to do that. So it's like, get your finances together. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, do that work, so when it's time for that person to come into your life, you won't be scrambling trying to figure out, you know, oh shoot, they ain't gonna want me, and you feeling that low self-worth and not good enough type of mentality. So it's like doing a lot of that stuff, a lot of the pre-work up front, you know, working on communication, you know, because how you interact even in with like your friendships will transpose into like those romantic relationships. So reflect on, you know, how you interact and how you handle conflict in your current relationships right now, even if they aren't romantic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lakeisha, for having us today, baby. Did you have any other questions?
No, I think we covered quite a bit.
I think we got some really good information. Now, hopefully everyone that's watching this has received these jewels. And if you guys want to hear more, get more information, where can people find you?
They can connect with me on Instagram at Lakeisha LPC, on Twitter at Lakeisha LPC, on Facebook, Lakeisha Russell, or go to my website, www.theevolvingchair.com.
Awesome.
That's the name of the podcast.
It is. The name of the podcast is called The Evolving Chair Podcast, where I focused on mental health issues among the Black and Brown community through everyday conversations with pastors, medical providers, other experts in the field of counseling and therapy, and everyday people that want to share their mental wellness journey and how they overcame certain things. You can listen to it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, literally wherever you stream your podcast.
Awesome. Now, we were wrapping up, but I just have one more question, because you did say you have pastors on the show. So for the Christian-based folks that are watching this, how important is therapy outside of the church? Because I hear a lot of folks saying, I'm just going to pray on it. I'm just going to pray on it, and I'm not going to do anything else. Like, therapy ain't for me. I got God.
Yeah, no, and so the thing is, right, you can do both, and I think people don't understand that. Like for me, I love God, and people who come into my office know that, and if they bring up like, yeah, I trust God, I have faith, I'm like, oh, you know, like, do you want to pray to this session? Like, you might find a therapist that'll pray, but you know, I'm a firm believer, God doesn't allow us to have the ability to connect with people and help them do some serious work to, at the end of the day, to do what they're called to do for him. So I don't think he would give us this gift for it not to be used in that capacity, you know. And I think many of the times people automatically think with therapy that you're going to be on medication and things like that. And it's like, I'm not a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is the one who prescribes medication. And you know, medications aren't usually my first line. Now, if somebody is a little off kilter, off balance, where it's hard for them to even get the skills that I'm trying to teach them, I may suggest that, but that is very far where I do. Because people just come with so much trauma. And so, you know, their brain is just literally like on a hamster wheel, like every day. And so it's just providing that safe space. And there are Christian counselors out here that love God and will help you do the work you need to do so you can fulfill your God-given purpose. And I love too, because my church, we're actually creating a mental health ministry. And so I think this is something big, especially for Milwaukee, to see this. Like, okay, you can do both. You can love God and pray and go to therapy and work on past stuff. Because you can't fulfill your purpose if you are fighting those. If you aren't willing to go back and fight those demons.
Awesome. Well, we really wrapping up this. I just wanted y'all to get that last gem there, but again, thank you so much, Lakeisha, for having us. And you guys can like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below if you want to continue to see videos just like this one. Thank you.
Bye.